America. Americans are waiting to hear solutions when the president heads to El Paso tomorrow. Our border correspondent Jaeson Jones is live in Texas with more. Jason.
Tom, good afternoon, buddy. It's good to be with you as always. Here's the problem right now going on as President Biden is finally going to the El Paso area to see the border for himself. And that's outside the immigration layer that we talk about all the time. There are major problems to national security and public safety that these cartels and alien smuggling organizations along our border represent. I want to give you an example of this. We've got exclusive video that was taken yesterday from a private security firm just south of Arivaca, Arizona, a very remote area inside Mexico, approximately 300 meters. What you are seeing is a forward operating base of the Sinaloa cartel with approximately 50 gunmen. And while this drone flew from the U.S. into Mexico, look at what it captured as these gunmen were shooting at this drone from multiple locations. And in addition to that, not only were they shooting at it, but these rounds were coming into the United States, and those who were guiding the drone had to take cover as a result of it. This is playing out on our border every day. And while most of the media looks at the immigration layer, and it's a very important layer, we cannot forget the national security issues and the public safety issues in this country. Here's why it's important. The Sinaloa cartel this week, the Americans and the world witnessed the capability of them as Ovidio Guzman was taken into custody, and the cartel literally took over an airfield. And then they had back-to-back battles resulting in 29 people killed in Culiacan, Mexico. Well, look at this same cartel's capabilities at our border. So when you hear from the secretary that your border is safe and your border is secure, I want to be very clear with the videos you are seeing and that we bring you back to back. Your border is not safe and your border is not secure. And I'll say one last thing here, Tom.
Yeah.
What you are really witnessing at the southwest border is the largest U.S. intelligence failure since 9/11.
Wow. You know, Jason, first of all, I over the last 2 years, you have done more than any reporter for any network anywhere on this issue. You've been following it every single day, and thank you for everything that you've brought to us on this, and you're going to continue to do it. Jason, we're fighting an army. This is not, you know, this is not some group of rabble. This is an army with an enormous amount of money and infrastructure and other resources. What do you think the president can say that is actually going to strike fear into these folks?
Nothing. He can say nothing verbally. They do not fear the United States. And I can tell you, as somebody that knows these cartels and has built programs with the state of Texas to go after them when we were combating the Los Zetas cartel before they were adjusted into Cartel del Noreste, they do not fear us. They have no reason to. And what's an example of that, Tom, that tells you that they don't? And that is that they have pushed more deadly fentanyl into this country that has resulted in the deaths of 100,000+ Americans in just 1 year.
Yeah.
And I can tell you they will not stop. We've got to go after their labs. We've got to go after their labs now. And we've also got to designate them as foreign terrorist organizations and crush them.
All right. Thank you so much again for that report. Jaeson Jones, live in Texas. Let's continue the conversation. Joining us now, the president of the National Border Patrol Council, Brandon Judd. Brandon, thank you for being here, and thank you, of course, for your service. We've been waiting for this moment when the administration perhaps acknowledges the crisis at the border. Why now? Why are we finally seeing this visit tomorrow?
The only reason that he's coming to the border, let me make this very clear, it's not of his own accord. He's coming to the border because you now have his own constituents. You have part of his base that are now standing up and saying, we just can't continue to absorb all of the costs that are associated with this. You've got Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City, that's saying they just can't do it anymore. You've now got the governor of Colorado that is saying that he's going to start shipping people out of his state, very similar to what Governor Abbott has been doing. When that happens, the administration has to take notice. Then, of course, you have to look at what the media has done. Although it is a very, very small handful of media outlets, the media is now putting the pressure on the president, and the American public is aware of what's going on. It's because of those two things, and only those two things, that he's coming to the border. He's 2 years too late. He's already caused so much harm to this country that it's unimaginable, but now he's coming simply because of those two reasons.
Yeah, you got backed into a political corner. The illegal crossings are absolutely staggering. Take a look at this chart that we have here. I mean, the numbers, 2.766 million in fiscal year 2022. over 500,000 just since October for fiscal year 23. Biden outlined some components of an immigration plan the other day. Take a listen to this.
If you don't apply through the legal process, you will not be eligible for this new parole program. Let me reiterate. You need a lawful sponsor in the United States of America, number one. And you need to undergo a rigorous background check, number two.
Brandon, your reaction to what you heard at the White House the other day?
So the vast majority of what he outlined is just repackaging the original 6 pillars that has failed miserably. There is one aspect that DHS later put out after President Biden's press conference where they're talking about a transit ban. If they actually implement the transit ban, this is something that I have encouraged DHS to do. If they implement the travel ban, they will end catch and release. And if they end catch and release, then we can then go after the criminal cartels, just like you talked about just a couple minutes ago. If we can go after the criminal cartels, we can protect American lives. The problem is we just don't have any trust in this administration. We don't think that President Biden will actually implement what he says he's going to do. I mean, all we have to do is look at Yuma, Arizona. Approximately a month before the midterm elections, he said he was going to fill in the gaps. Now it's several months later, and he's barely getting around to doing it. Again, everything that he does is political. If he thinks that it's good for him politically, he'll do it. If he doesn't think it's good for him politically, he won't do it. Right now, he's being forced into a corner. And if they do implement the travel ban, they will end catch and release. And if they end catch and release, illegal immigration will drop, and we will then be able to go after the cartels. I just am not going to hold my breath.
Brandon, you know, President George W. Bush once said, "We don't negotiate with terrorists; we kill them." Is that where we have to go to get a handle on this? I mean, and nothing against the Border Patrol, but I mean, is the only thing at this point that stops this invasion a military, significant military involvement?
So. Yes and no. And let me tell you what the cons are. And the reason why the Trump administration did not proclaim cartels as terrorist organizations is right now they're operating in the shadows in the Mexican society. Make no mistake, they have infiltrated the Mexican government. They are in the Mexican government. The problem is if you declare them a terrorist organization, now they have no reason to operate in the shadows. Now they come out in the open. They take over the complete Mexican government, and that could cause a very, very serious long, drawn out, if you will, war. And so there was a reason why they didn't do it. Now, I do think that if we do it properly, if we take the proper steps, yes, it is what is necessary. We just have to take the proper steps. And I do believe that if President Trump was still in the office today, that we would have taken those proper steps and the cartels would have been eradicated. We just have to do it right.
Well, let's see what he says tomorrow and what actions follow from that. Brandon Judd, of course, thank you so much for being here and for everything that you and your folks do to try to keep us safe. Appreciate it.
It's good to be with you. Thank you.
To continue the preview of the